Good morning, everybody. I thought I'd jump on here today and discuss a subject which is close to heart, and that is the subject of overcoming injuries and obstacles whilst you're on your fitness journey. I had a message from a client this morning who was upset because this guy has really hurt his ankle, and he feels quite dejected and despondent about the situation, and understandably so. When we are on a fitness journey, when we are dedicated, when we've got all of our ducks in a row, our nutrition is in check and everything else, our training's in check, we've got our mindset in the right place, the last thing anybody wants is to be faced with an obstacle that they didn't anticipate. And for a lot of people, it can throw them off, and it can result in this downward spiral of eventually throwing in the towel. Now, the first reaction to any injury is always going to be one of anger, frustration, dejection, upset, you name the negative connotation associated with that emotion. But listen, the reality is there's phases to this, and your first reaction is never the right reaction when you are upset. That's a given. What I've learned over the years, having suffered so many injuries myself, is the best physiques that you see out there, they are correlated to the level of obstacle or injury that person has overcome. What does that mean? That means the person that you see, the people that you see with outstanding physiques, the magnitude of their physique, the level of their physique, you will find is directly correlated to the level of obstacle, which includes injuries, often, that they have overcome by their own volition up until this point. If we reverse that, the people who never achieve any level of health and fitness and physique that they aspire to, the people that don't move forward and stay at a very, very low level, being out of shape, overweight, weak, etc., so on and so forth, we usually find the same rule applies. We usually find that these people become beaten by the smallest of obstacles, the smallest of inconveniences. You know, oh, I hurt my wrist, so I had to stop training and had to stop my diet and had to stop making my daily step target and all the rest of it. Okay, fair enough. Or, oh, I had a deadline on Tuesday, so I was completely busy with work Monday and Tuesday, and so I took the whole week off. Right, that makes sense. Or, oh, I caught a cold and it lasted 7 days, so I didn't do any exercise. I came off my diet plan and I thought I'd take another week off just to be safe, and that week turned into a month, and now I'm back to where I started. You get my picture, okay? So, fundamentally, what you need to realise is that your actions have consequences. And if you decide to throw in the towel at a point of inconvenience, you're only going to regret that decision weeks down the line. And what we need to do, what we need to become better at, all of us, is being very objective in our assessment of exactly what that injury or obstacle is imposing on us, the extent of it. Because our immediate response is always going to be to exaggerate the implications. If we hurt, our knee, we're going to feel like we can't train legs. We're going to feel like we can't train anything at all. We're going to feel like we should give up. Whereas the reality is, okay, if you hurt a knee, it might inhibit extension, but it might not inhibit flexion. Okay, it might not inhibit load bearing. You might still be able to train in a specific plane of motion. You might still be able to train your calves. You might still be able to train in an isolation manner. You're definitely still going to be able to train your other leg. You're definitely still going to be able to train your upper body. You're definitely going to be able to do forms of stretching. You're definitely going to be able to stay on top of your nutrition plan, and so on and so forth. And by controlling the 99% of the other things, the implications, or rather the ramifications of that injury, aren't nearly as bad as to that which you initially had estimated. And so suddenly giving up is no longer justified. I will give yourself... I've just seen a comment there from Shane. This entire life feels like it's attacking me. No, not at all. But I'll give you an example, guys, of a few times, just so you can see why I position myself as an authority on this subject. I've had so many injuries, and if you speak to any of my close friends or family members, they will tell you that I have been absolutely unstoppable, indefatigable in always working around an injury. Okay, why? Because there's no other option for me. Okay, the consequence of giving up at a point of inconvenience is absolutely not an option for me, because that will leave me in a position, a state of turmoil, being depressed to a level that far exceeds the impact of my injury. Okay, for me, giving up means feeling crap. It means losing confidence. It means losing discipline. It means losing organizations. It means losing my ability to actually be an authority on helping people. It means not being able to support my family in the work that I do. And it's absolutely treacherous. So I will never ever give up. And some of the obstacles that I've overcome are pretty damn extreme. Just in the last few years, I remember one of the worst ones was 3 years ago, just before Wolf was born. I snapped my Achilles tendon having a kickabout at a barbecue at a friend's house. And I snapped my Achilles tendon, I had it investigated, had it looked at, it needed surgery. The surgery happened, and a couple of weeks later, whilst I was on crutches with an absolutely disgustingly swollen calf and reattached Achilles tendon, on crutches, I went to reach down to adjust it wasn't a cast, but adjust my boot, and I then did my back in, okay, because I wasn't moving the way that I wanted. So this is a history of lumbar issues. I've previously fractured lumbar in 2 places. I got disc degeneration there, and I just pinched a nerve or something, done something nasty again to my back. So there I am. I can't sit down comfortably. I can't even lie down comfortably. Walking is absolutely treacherous. And 2 weeks later, Wolf is born. All right, Wolf is born. We have to do an emergency C-section in the end because the labour process did not go to plan, and Wolf needed to have an emergency C-section to be born, which meant that Freya was also put out for a good few weeks from heavy lifting, and she was somewhat immobilised. She was an absolute trooper as well. But there we are, both of us. Me on crutches, my back's also wrecked, her absolutely destroyed from this traumatic process of having an emergency C-section, which truly was an emergency. And in that time, I'm running a personal training business, and my business and my ability to take care of my family was absolutely predicated on my ability to stay fit and to stay living the lifestyle and to stay happy and to stay mentally focused and to stay an example to my clients. So I still trained, okay? There I am, crutches on, back in agony, painkillers. I still trained my upper body. I still trained my right leg. I still kept on top of my diet. I made the decision in my mind, if I can't train my leg, I'm going to get as jacked as possible in my upper body. And I was actually surfing through some of the pictures recently, and my goodness, that is the biggest and most muscular I've ever got on my upper body ever during that time of adversity. Why? Because I had a point to prove to myself. I didn't want to accept that I was going to be defeated by an ankle injury. Okay, I didn't want to let my family down. I drew this line of attachment between my training performance and my ability to be an example is directly correlated to my ability to help others, which is directly correlated to my ability to serve my family and provide for my family. That was just one example. Okay, but if you look back years prior, I had ACL surgery and meniscus reparation. Again, there's pictures of me on crutches in the gym, guys. A much more recent one, which a few of you know about, but I haven't really talked about, and my clients will not know about because I have not let it impact my work at all, is on the 31st of December, so 3.5 weeks ago, I did that 80 rep squat set with 100 kilos, 220 pounds on my back. And something went at rep 60 and my head started pounding. My headache has not gone since then, okay? I've been into hospital numerous times. I've had CT scans, angiograms where they've injected dyes into my bloodstream to see what's going on in my head, in my brain, in my vascular structures of my neck. And thankfully, there is no sign of brain bleeds. Thankfully, no signs of arterial damage in my cervical spine. And I even had a lumbar tap, guys, okay, which is where they literally stick a needle in your spine and retract spinal fluid to see the health of your brain, okay? Thankfully, I really mean this, thankfully to God, there is nothing traumatic going on with my brain, and the pain level has subsequently subsided massively. I believe now that it's something to do with a potential vertebral fracture impinging on a nerve, either in my neck or in my spine. But the headaches have been absolutely excruciating with pain management, with pain medication, I've been able, however, to continue training to a new, different, lesser capacity. But I have been in the gym, guys. I have not stopped training. I've not been able to exert to the same level, but I've still been in there on the bike, doing light level work, cardio, some heavy lifting without using Valsalva, managing, knowing, understanding what movements cause my pain and my headache to exacerbate, knowing what to avoid, figuring it out, doing what I can, eating right, training as well as I can, trying to keep positive because the alternative is absolutely not viable, okay? So now I'm waiting MRI scans on my T-spine and my C-spine to see what's going on. I'm 99% sure it's some sort of nerve-related issue which is causing pain in the back of my head, because I did actually find a spot on my mid-back the other day which I aggravated on the foam roller, took painkillers, and the headache disappeared for an entire day. Okay, no sign of it whatsoever. So I must have released something there. So that's really encouraging. More news on that to come. But like I said, I didn't let this impact everything that I could do. I could still, with pain relief, do some training. I could still stay on my diet plan. I could still serve my clients. It did not affect my ability to serve my clients and to be there for them in the slightest, because I didn't let it, because that shit's important to me. And if something's important to you, and this is the principal point here, if something's important to you, you will absolutely always categorically find a way. Okay, so my message is this: if it's important to you, you will find a way to overcome an injury, an illness, some sort of barrier, whatever it is, you will always find a way. The second thing is, when you are presented with that, okay, when you are presented with that issue, remind yourself of being as objective in your assessment of the problem as possible. Don't create this catastrophe situation in your mind where, suddenly, a messed up knee is going to change the way you eat. It's going to change the way you train your upper body. It's going to prevent you from getting to the gym at all. It's going to completely derail you. That's nonsense, okay? That's you giving up. That's on you. That's your choice. And that is absolutely not warranted, okay? The other thing to remind yourself is you are not alone in this. Every guy that you aspire to with an amazing, massive level of physique, muscular, strong dudes with crazy levels of strength and fitness, I promise you they have overcome equally impressive obstacles to build the level of fitness that they hold. So don't feel that you are hard done by because you've had some bad luck. We are all due some bad luck. This is another key message. Take the situation for what it is and accept it, and don't try and change it. No one here on this planet should be so arrogant as to believe they are absolutely devoid of being served any bad luck. We are all due bad luck. And you should just be grateful sometimes that your bad luck isn't something life-threatening, okay? Look at this over here. Do you see this scar? All right, this is another one. I was in a gym where a 25-year-old cable on a triceps pushdown detached and sliced my head, and it pissed out blood everywhere, okay? Now, I look at that, I looked at the machinery was absolutely wrecked. The holes had become almost figures of eights with how much they'd worn down, and the pin had slid out. However, I could have checked it a second time or a third time or a fourth time. I could have looked at that machine and said, do you know what, that looks unstable, it looks a bit risky. I could have stepped a little bit further away. But no, I said, do you know what, that's bad luck, okay? I'm not going to go after the gym. I'm going to take some responsibility for that. And even if it's not my fault at all, which I'm pretty harsh on myself, right? If a machine is in for 21 reps or 15 reps, whatever it was, and it goes, then it was in and it came out, okay? But in any case, I'm pretty harsh on myself. But in any case, again, if it was a pure accident, okay, and purely not my fault in the slightest, then why should I be devoid of any bad luck in life? For goodness sake, I know people that have seen their children die, who have seen 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, even younger babies have not gone past their first birthday, not make it there, and we talk about bad luck and we feel this level of entitlement and we get put off by an injury, a small injury or some illness that isn't life-threatening. We've got to all do better. We've got to all be more grateful, So just some things to think about when it comes down to dealing with injuries, dealing with obstacles, and Being strong enough to say, do you know what? Fuck this. I'm bigger than this issue. I'm bigger than this challenge. I'm going to push on because this is important to me, and I'm going to make my life count, and I'm going to make my efforts count. All right. So anyway, those are my thoughts, guys. Something I'm really passionate about is helping guys get into phenomenal shape, no matter what obstacles they're facing. I'm here to help you realize that you are bigger than any obstacle that life throws at you. It is a decision to be unstoppable. You cannot beat the man who is unstoppable because he just keeps on coming back, and you are capable of greatness. Guys, have an amazing day, and we'll catch up soon.